Greetings and konnichiwa, and welcome back to the Onyx Tavern Vlog series on Russia Sentai ToQger. I'm your host, Rick the Barkeep, and today we're going to be talking about Station 28, Uncool, but Cool. So this is actually a pretty decent episode. I have to admit that I liked it. It's a lot better than, again, the filler that we've had, but it hasn't been as powerful as some of the other episodes that deal with our main plot, our main objective. Because this episode actually doesn't involve them looking for their town or Shadow Town, which again is the main objective in the series. But I do credit the episode that it has made our villains more interesting again. We're starting to do things with the villains because, as I've said before, since the wedding plot, we really haven't learned anything new about them. There hasn't been anything interesting with them. But with the introduction of the Mork character, I think things are getting, again, back on track. And I hate to use that pun, but that's seriously what's been happening is we've been getting off track with the series. I mean, I seriously think that a lot of Sentai shows could be about 30, 35 episodes long if they really cut out the filler that doesn't mean a darn thing. And that includes Christmas episodes, because let's be honest, Christmas episodes, well, that's for another time. But in addition to what's going on with the villains, we have another Takachi story. And I honestly, here's the thing. Right, Mio and Takachi are the ones who are getting all the stories exclusively to them. Akira really hasn't had a story onto himself since his major arc, other than the bathhouse thing, but you guys know how I feel about that. And Hikari and Kagura, they haven't been getting anything. And I don't know if these are the three most popular characters in terms of the Japanese audience and all that, but while I like Wright and I enjoy Mio, I still don't like Takachi that much, and I want to see more of Hikari. Again, he's my favorite right now. I want to see more of him, and can we give something for Kagura to do other than to be fascinated with the bathhouse for whatever reason? But what the story actually does well with Takachi's character is it does advance a plot point that we had in a previous episode. So let's start with the villains first, and then we'll talk about our Rangers. So again, Mork is in the picture. She has introduced herself as the previous caretaker of Zet, and now she's coming in to straighten everything out, because she's seen how everything has been a mess, and to be honest, it really has been a mess. You know, when Schwartz was there, and before the Emperor arrived, they were getting a little traction, a little leadway into actually completing their goal. Then Zet comes in, and everybody starts stabbing each other in the back and turning each other, and it just became a mess. And now, since the wedding plot, Zet's really hasn't been doing anything, and neither has the villains, which, again, they haven't been all that interesting. But now we have Mork in here. I like how she gets down to business when she gets in there. She says to Madam, go do this, go gather some darkness, be useful for once. She talks to Nero about what they're going to do about Akira, and what about Schwartz, has he been dealt with? Which, I'm glad at the end we get this little hint that Schwartz has revived his train, and he's going to start being a threat in future episodes, so I'm really interested to see Schwartz come back. She also reveals from the previous episode, Station 27, why she took Zet to see the ToQger in the Shadow Town. And I love the analogy that she uses, is that he is basically darkness personified, and that his interest in the light is going to end up hurting him. That he is like a moth to the flame. That is exactly how she puts it. That he will get to that sparkle, that light, whatever it is he's looking for, and that's going to be his undoing, apparently. So I like the way that is being used. I like the way that that's what she meant for him to see in the previous episode. I wish that was revealed to us in that episode, but here it still works. And again, I just like the idea that she's getting down to business. She's going to take care of everything, because Zet hasn't been himself, and the episode kind of reveals why. It seems that what has happened was that Zet did not fully integrate Glitter into his body, basically. That maybe part of the reason that he's having problems is that I guess he's not digesting her appropriately, is what it is, because we see her in the mirror flashing. It's happened a couple of times before, but she's having some sort of effect on him to where he is not his full self. He's become weaker as a result, or at least that's what the implication is. So it'll be interesting to see what happens from this point, what their plan is with Glitter and Mort now being in the picture. So again, villains are getting back on track to be interesting once more. But again, let's talk about the main plot with our ToQger characters, and of course, again, it involves Takachi. Now, again, what I like about this, again, Takachi's stories aren't very interesting, but we're picking up a thread from his last story where he kind of likes Mio, and he pretty much says in the episode to Hikari, "I like Mio." And that's where we are. He says, "I like Mio," and he's trying to keep a secret with Hikari. Which, by the way, the whole episode actually starts out, doesn't seem like it's going to go that way, but it's like Takachi tells a joke about Hikari, and he thinks he's offended Hikari. Now, the problem is, I did not realize it was a joke until the TV Nihon annotation said, "The joke is." Anytime you have to do that, that means your joke is not going to work, but it's a joke based on language, so us American audiences were not going to get it to begin with. Nevertheless, he thinks he's assaulted Hikari, and while at the same time he wants to be with Mio, they split up in the episode to help Wright overcome this mind-controlled feather he has in his helmet. He tries to get Mio, but Mio takes Kagura, and he's stuck with Hikari. So in his mind, it's like, I can't be with the girl that I want to be with, and I have to be with this guy who I insulted this morning. And of course, they bond over the experience, and Hikari's just kind of like, "Dude, you didn't insult me, it's alright, and I'll keep your secret about Mio, you really like her," and all that kind of stuff. It's really simplistic, there isn't much to it, but I like the fact that we're talking about two characters, who really don't interact that much on screen. Because again, Hikari's really been in the background for a long time, and we, learn a little bit more about their relationship, and we're learning, Takachi and how he likes Mio, and that is actually going to be a sustained plot thread now. Because I thought they were just going to kind of abandon it at the end of the previous episode that was introduced into, but now it seems like it's going to be something that we will continue with. Now, the only thing I can say about the Mio Takachi thing is, like, they don't have their memories. What if it turns out they're brother and sister? Just think about that for a second. Takachi's got these romantic feelings for somebody, and it's Mio, and what if they find out, they're brother and sister later? That would be something, wouldn't it? That would be kind of interesting. Just because it adds drama, it adds conflict, I think that would be something... I think that's something that should be in there. Some sort of complication of why they can't be together. And yes, I know that Takachi was the new student, so they can't be brother and sister based on what we already know, but they could be cousins or something. I just want to see if there is going to be a complication, these two do not get together by the end of the series. I want it to be something that makes sense. Incest is a good reason. But not being together because we're of two different worlds, blah, 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 that's all BS. I just recently watched Good Morning Vietnam, and I thought that the reason that she couldn't be with Robin Williams was stupid argument, but that's just my opinion. So, beyond that, not too much else in the episode to go ahead and comment about. I think it was kind of a decent episode. I just want to see where this love interest thing goes. I want to see what Mio's idea is to it. Does she like Takachi? Is it something that she might be aware of down the line? Let's see what happens there. But again, other than that, it's pretty standard by numbers episode. Oh, I do want to make this point. So, as I said before, Wright is hypnotized in this episode by a feather to go berserk and fight everybody. And they have a hard time actually trying to subdue him, and they can't bring themselves to fight against him. And we've seen this stuff before, but what I like that they did different is that they all find the ability or the courage or whatever to fight Wright, because they just vent all their frustrations out on him. Hikari's upset that his toy got messed up by Right, so he's just like, like, this is for that, bam! And then the girls are all upset that, he's walking around in his underwear and they're yelling at him, put some clothes on, bam! I just like the idea that they're all friends and they all care about each other, but there are things that annoy them about each other, and the only way to help him was to let all that anger and aggression out on him, and that took him down. So I did think that was kind of humorous. That's a nice spin to put on the whole thing. But again, that's what we got. I'm hoping, let's get back to another major arc. Let's get to some more stories. Let's get some more fun stuff and all that. Enough with these fillers. We've had enough of them. Enough of this tiptoeing around certain plots. Let's actually get into some major plots, and hopefully we'll get that in the next episode. We'll see. Alright, so thank you guys for listening. Have a good evening, and the tavern is now closed.